trafficking.
Welcome to the CEN show, the voice of the world community. On Monday, we had an excellent show with Professor Umar and Brother Mashinda and myself, and I want to share that. So here we go. So it was Monday, and for some reason, we got a lot of hits on YouTube on the first day, because we're a fairly new podcast, 2 years in, and we normally don't get that many views, but we got almost 100 on the first day. So I guess that's pretty good. Must be doing something here, and that's the intent of our podcast. So now our guest this evening came on 2 years ago, and he was like one of our very first guests, probably the fourth or fifth show. It was a real good show. So let me introduce the panel, then I'm going to introduce him, and then we're going to get started. We kind of got a late start this evening due to the weather. So let me introduce the panel. We have Sister Linda Shorter, who's in Florida. We got Sister Making It Happen out here in Los Angeles County. Got Brother Mashinda, who's out in Louisiana. We got Professor Umar, who's in the city of Compton. And then you have myself, Rasaki Maskani. I'm here in Los Angeles. So our guest this evening is Brother Umar Hakim. And the topic for this evening is hate crimes in Los Angeles County. Are we prepared going forward? So, Brother Umar, I appreciate you coming out again and giving us your time and expertise in many areas that you have. So, how are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm doing good, dear soldier. Thank you for the invitation and congratulations for being online for the last 2 years, man. That's hot to you and everybody else that's here. That's good.
Yes, everybody that's on here is a part of the Community Education Network, and very wonderful people, just like yourself, brother. So, in the past 2 years, what's been going on with you? And then when you finish that, you can go ahead and start the.
Okay. What's been going on in the last 2 years? Well, my daughter's in college now. I'm a grandfather now. You know what I'm saying? I'm entered the club of being a granddaddy. I haven't decided on what the baby could call me, Papa. G. I don't know yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm still still trying to find that out. I'm gonna wait till we start talking. But I'm excited about that. My organization called I have a new organization called Encourage, which just as you see right here on my shirt. This is a pronunciation of the word encourage. And we are an advisory that helps purpose-driven individuals and organizations scale their capacity through program development, audience insights, and professional one-to-one coaching. And so how that plays out, I have a few clients here in Los Angeles who has contracted my expertise, and I'm really thankful for them because without them, it would be no me professionally. Um, I'm in a good space. Encourage started off as a hashtag, then I put it on a couple of shirts, and now all praise is due to the creator. Now in 2023, it's an organization with a board of directors. So I'm really thankful to be in this space, and and to share this information here in your show. So encourage started off as a hashtag, which this is the pronunciation key when you look up the word encourage. And it started off as a hashtag online, then I put it on a couple of shirts and some products. And now this year in 2023, all praise is due to the creator. And it's now a 501c3 organization. It's an advisory It's a service organization that helps purpose-driven organizations, individuals build their capacity through program development, audience insight, and one-to-one coaching. And so I'm thankful to be on this show today so we can raise awareness around the hate that surrounds us. We know that our community has been hated on for generations, whether it was speech, whether it was violence, violent acts, tragedy, which equals to genocide. We are the poster children of hate and violence in America. And so I want to talk about the recent hate crime report here in Los Angeles County. I can share my screen. Okay, there you go, right there. So every few years, this is the most recent one, 2021. Even if you was to go to the FBI website, they still gonna have 2021 statistics. This was re-released recently through Los Angeles County Commission on Human Relations. So this is just a basic summary saying who they are, what's going on, and then I highlighted it right here. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So right here I highlighted on the PDF I downloaded, although they comprise, although they, meaning African Americans, comprise about 9% of the county's population, that's Los Angeles County, African Americans were again the largest group of hate crime victims. Anti-Black hate crimes rose 30% from 169 to 219, and African Americans comprised 46% of racial hate crimes in Los Angeles County. African Americans were also disproportionately represented as victims of sexual orientation and anti-gender crimes. So when you break this down, when you really look into the depths of this, it puts us in a whole different conversation with the County of Los Angeles. We should have our lobbying groups. We should be aligned with community organizers who all align with our community's interests. And we can ask the law enforcement communities of Los Angeles County, whether it's the Sheriff's Department or LAPD or any other department that's within LA County, even Long Beach, because Long Beach is a district, it's a division of LA County. We should be asking, how are they going to protect us? How are we going to protect ourselves? What is the laws that we have to protect ourselves as first responders? And what does this mean to the county, when it comes to the future of policing in our communities? So there's a lot of questions around this that we could have advocacy around, but we have to get to it. Mainly, we have to stick together and do it. I myself am the board president for LA Voice, which is an organizer here in Los Angeles County, and one of the things that we focus on is police reform. So you have um, a speech that was spoken on by FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he talked about the four freedoms. And in the four freedoms, I'm gonna stop sharing. And in the four freedoms, he had four freedoms: freedom from fear, freedom of expression, freedom from want, and freedom of worship. This definitely fits the freedom from fear. Our communities has been living in a state of fear for a long time, but now we have to remind ourselves, what are we going to do? So at this time, I'd like to open it up to anybody here who would like to discuss this in further detail. And the first question is, how can we protect ourselves?
All right. I'm gonna start off with Sister making it happen. Sister making it happen?
Greetings, family. Once again, greetings to everyone. Hope you all are doing well today. This is a really powerful topic in terms of the statistics that are presented, in terms of the amount of hate that is just around us, the hostile environment that we're living in, and how can we thrive in this hostile environment? How can we protect ourselves so that we can flourish? We've been in this hostile environment for over 400 years, and so we have flourished, right? But we must continue to communicate and be aware and observe our surroundings. And as we move and position ourselves to make sure that we are always having security as the first priority. So that's what I want to share. We move on and do whatever we're going to do in our little communities, wherever we are, in our circles, that we remember security is the first order of the day. We have to take care of our homes, we have to take care of each other, and we have to be honest about the hate that is perpetuated by ourselves, so that we could attempt to reduce some of this hostility that we're living in. Creates a lot of mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You made a good point there, the hate that we perpetuate ourselves, because when others see us hating on ourselves, they say, well, they doing it to themselves, let's do it to them as well. And then we live in a country that's really copycat. So as long as they think that we don't love each other or have no respect for one another, it's easier for them to perpetuate the same energy that they think that we give ourselves, because and that's only a small population of our community who does that. We have a bigger population of our community who does not promote hate, who takes the initiative to promote love and justice, not only for ourselves but for everybody. So you made a good point there.
Okay, thanks a lot. Brother Mashenda?
No, I agree with Sister Make It Happen. You know, a lot of things she just mentioned. Um, so I think she covered a lot of ground. And you know, he said, you know, what can, you know, how can we protect ourselves? You know, that's a pretty deep question that requires a lot of thought. You but I think, like Sister Make It Happen said, you know, we have to work on ourselves and then what's around us, you know, our families, and do outreach and well, and communicate about this particular topic. You know, I mean, if we're talking about just injustice in general and you know, but particularly how we affected, like you were talking about the statistics, you know, are alarming in proportion to the people, how we are, you know, as a whole, people as a whole, black people as a whole are affected by these things, you know. So, but you know, we understand that there's a war, there's a struggle, there's intentional assault on people. So, anyway, I'm still thinking about that one. I'm glad you came tonight to present and to create this, you know, provoke thought and discussion about this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, let me just chime in a little bit before Professor Amon Ra give us his thoughts on how we can protect ourselves.
Sister Making It Happen is too.
What's that?
Sister Making It Happen is on too.
She was what?
Sister Making It Happen is on too.
Yeah, she was first.
Oh.
Yeah, she spoke. Okay, so now let me just say this. I'm just gonna say a little bit. We first of all, we have to be aware of our position if we looking at our race. And if you look at our position, how are we able to protect ourselves when we up against a proposed enemy that has all the power and weaponry to do what they will with anybody of any race. So I think ours have to come in the form of being, intelligent, making sure that we make decisions that's going to benefit us. And I think with the ability to think and also work on reform, which mentally our reform will be from an oppressive type mentality to a more of a healthy, holistic type approach. So I think that's we really have to get into agent of changing, and that's why we have this platform. So I'll let Professor Umar respond to that question.
Appreciate what's been said, if I understand correctly. I'm Professor Umar, Professor Emeritus, California State University of Long Beach. I taught Africana Studies for 34 years. We're taught a number of things on the College of Philosophy and by just personal experience and education. One thing we must learn that our oppressor cannot be our teacher. He can't define to me what's real and what's not real. He have you thinking you hate him. The victim is the criminal and the criminal is the victim. Hate is what he says is one of the motivations for violence in this country. And that sort of excuses him for racial violence, sex violence, and everything else. He's opening it up where, I taught in juvenile hall, and the Crips hated the Bloods, but they didn't classify that as hate crime. They classified that as gang violence. They would, if they was reading a book, if the Crips saw B in the word, they'd cross it out. And then they had what they called CK, Crip killer. They carved it in their skin. B killer, BK. I think that a part of this society wants you to think that a lot of the violence is caused by hate, but a lot of it is just caused by the nature of those that are the purveyors of violence. It's part of their culture apparatus. Most people, as Brother Hakim said, just want to live on the planet. But there are some people who have organized, and part of their nature is to rule the planet. That's where segregation, discrimination comes in. Are those hate crimes, discrimination? If I'm not just acting out of physical violence, but I'm just denying you goods and services. From the standpoint of social institutions and things of this nature. I mean, if we all Americans, as Malcolm said, you wouldn't catch hell. For people to say Christians and Jews and Muslims having hate crimes in America, they've been fighting since they became apart. Some of the times they were the biggest purveyors of the violence. That's how Muslims came into Africa. That's why Christians came into the Crusades. So violence is a part of some groups' nature and some human nature. So when we start talking about what can we do to stop it, well, first of all, you need a universal form of cultural change and value change to be able to check those that really, purveyors. In other words, let me give you an example. Right now, America's over there saying that Ukraine, they're spending billions of dollars for war, which is violence and killing, to help Ukraine fight for their freedom And one of the rationales is that if you don't stop the Russians, they'll come and take away democracy worldwide in other countries and things of this nature. Now, here is, and then another example would be, here are Jewish people in America saying they're being attacked because of their Judaism. And that they, have what they call the Jewish Defense League, and they keep statistics on hate groups and things. But they don't tell you what they're doing to the Palestinians. They don't speak out against that. I mean, they're doing more vicious stuff to the Palestinians than what happened to them during Nazi Germany. They're doing the same thing. So it's here's America saying, in America we want to stop violence, but here their biggest apparatus and cultural dynamic is violence. There's over 45 wars on this planet today, and America is in every one of them, selling guns, renting out mercenaries, exploiting people, property, and money, and resources. My point is that I agree with Hakim. We need to stop violence wherever it's at, in the home and family, what we can control. We can't control what they're doing internationally and things of that nature. We don't have the resources. But don't ever think that the European cares about hate crimes and can define hate crime to anybody. How can we even accept their definition? The Human Rights Commission. And who are you? You understand? We're the victims. What about their definition of hate crime? You see, the victims. When we classify them as racist, then that be more inclusive, because that demands that even the people that are saying that they're not a part of the hate crime should be doing something about it just as much as the victim. What Hakim is saying, what can we do? What can America do? They have the resources. Here they are acting like, oh, there's something you can do to stop them, especially all the cliques. I mean, look what happened to their own capital. Was that a hate crime? Or was it a political crime? When you're dead and a victim of violence, it doesn't matter what the motive is. You can die on purpose or by accident. It don't make no difference to the victim. It makes a difference to those that are still living, hope that they don't become a victim. And so it's a challenge to come up with strategies to counter a cultural dynamic of America. That's what H. Rap said. Violence is as American as apple pie. Here's the biggest industry that they have in this country is selling weapons and making weapons. Not food to feed the hungry, not medicine to heal the sick, but weapons of mass destruction. You understand? So my point is that, yeah, we can do as much as we can to educate people not to be violent and not to hate and not to do those things. But you got white folks right now saying that, this lady running for president, America is not racist. Well, that's like saying America's not violent. I mean, it's this nature. This is the nature of the society. It started on violence. And it is institutionalized. They institutionalized it. Like I said in the Latasha Harden case on the courthouse, when the judge gave the Asian lady probation. Racism is not the lady shooting Latasha. Racism is the court and the institutions that allow it to happen. I hear people trying to justify racism by defining it in a way that if you just dislike somebody, that's hate. No. If you affect their lives, that's not just hate. That is viciousness. That's immorality. That's unethical. You understand? And so my point is that, you know, a person that rob a bank, what they say, I just hate being broke, so I rob the bank. That don't even make sense. You understand? So, Hakim, I'm for the organizations that are out there that you're servicing, that try to get them to get organized and raise funds and do things and educate young people to love and appreciate. But as long as you got a military complex from the police, you know, when they beat the young man the other day, the 5 policemen, you know, was that a hate crime? You know, they calling it police abuse. You know, but it looked like to me, as violent as they were, there was, are you saying you don't have to hate to be that violent and malicious? So I think we need to come up with our own definition of what a hate crime is. And then at the same time, come up with ways in which to control people that walk around with anger issues and issues of that people are trying to replace them. Replace them to do what? To rule the planet, to rule their space. You know, this is what that's the move, you know. Europeans do their violence to stay in power. They'll let you play ball, have sex with you, and party with you, and do that. But they will not share status or power. That's it. So you have to break down the power structure from that standpoint.
Okay. I totally agree with you, brother Amin Ra. We have to come up with new strategies, not new strategies, but we have to come up with specific strategies because we are going, this is 2023, and this is going by the end of the year, you're going to start hearing about election season for 2024. So we can no longer accept just voting red and blue just because it's been a traditional thing in our community. We have to identify those candidates who are now willing to align with our community values. We have to pick those candidates who want to not just say, hey, we're America's not racist. We want you to show we want to see it on paper. We want to see you actually be an advocate for our community. And there's a couple of ways that we can do that. We ready to proceed, Rico? Okay, so there's a couple of ways we can do that because we definitely need to create an agenda. You know, there's been other organizations. You saw this in the 2015 presidential campaigns where Ice Cube asked a couple of simple questions, but he asked the right questions. He asked the right question and in my opinion, he did the right thing. But he asked the right questions that kind of got him somewhat canceled. You know what I'm saying? But he was on the right course and the right path to ask both sides of the coin. How will you protect us? How will you align with our values? So going forward, when it comes to how we could protect this, I think Brother Alman Raw was sitting on a good point. It's the system. When it comes to policy, there are a few acts that are still going through commission that we need to advocate for, to be advocates for, so they can become law. So now when these presidential candidates come to us, and if we attend these public forums, we can now say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. such and such, can you help us pass the George Floyd Act? This is almost like a hate crime bill that was designed in interest of our community. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Such and such, can you help us pass the Hands Up Act? Can we bring, you mentioned Tyree Nichols. The reason why we saw so much action on those 5 police that they got fired immediately. Now, in other situations, the officers was put on leave or whatever. And that's because in their cities, the charter of their city doesn't allow any police officer to be immediately fired. But I believe that was Baltimore. In their city charter, they had the means to say, the chief there had the means to say, you're fired immediately, no pension, none of that. So we need to ask Los Angeles County law enforcement, do you have this same clause in your charter? If not, we need to build up a lobbying situation and ask them these questions. Another way that we need to find out how we can protect ourselves. We can no longer allow, or we could better protect ourselves like going out in 2s, 3s, and 4s. I know we like to go to the market by ourselves. I know we have strong individuals say, hey, I want to be by myself so I could talk on the phone or whatever. But when a white van pulls up and it's 4 people against 1, you better off in numbers. You better off in numbers. So we need to develop strategies on how we could travel together. Because we are the first responders to our situation. We once convened a meeting with city officials. What laws do we have to be our first protectors? And they basically gave us A, B, and C. And they told us how we could be a first responder, especially in any shooting there. So we need to do more research there. I also consider sex trafficking a hate crime because it is our sisters who are being kidnapped, picked up, harassed. I consider that as a hate crime. You know what I'm saying? There are other laws that's on the table right now. Here in California, we have AB 449 presented by Assembly Field Team. And this talks about having agencies provide more hate crime statistics, like from law enforcement, because there's 18,000 police stations in the United States. Only 7,000 of them reported hate crime statistics to the FBI. That's less than half of 18. And in Los Angeles County, none reported. So this AB 449 bill, which is going up for review this month in the first session, needs to be reviewed, needs to be pushed to the next level. We also have AB 1064 by Assemblyman Evan Lowe. This will expand the language of hate crimes. Expand this language to help it convert, to expand the evidence to convert more minor offenses or situations into a hate crime. So we definitely need to build, organize, and strengthen our capacity to where we can start protecting ourselves. In my faith tradition, it says that if you see an injustice, There's 3 ways you could change it. You could use your hands, and using your hands not only means fighting, but you could pick up a pen and write about it. We have some wonderful scholars who have written about change. And it said the ink of a scholar is worth more than the blood of a martyr. So you could use your hands to paint the scenery. You know, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Every time I see the murals around Los Angeles, there go another person who used his talent to express the sorrow that we lost a good soldier in our community. The second of the 3 is we could use our speech. That's what this platform is about, using our speech. Because when we speak, it resonates here and it goes to here, and it all works together. How many speeches have we heard on YouTube and others that really affected us? How many times have we heard Umar speak on our behalf? The Ballad of the Bullet by Malcolm X, The Other America by Martin Luther King. I can't remember to mind the words of Frederick Douglass. We could use our speech to change the dynamics of our situation, which affects policy. Because the one thing that the enslaved African had in his favor was his or her ability to speak. And we affected the hearts and minds of our oppressor to bring us to this point. But we still got so far to go. The third of the 3, it says, if you leave it in your heart, that's the weakest of faith. So we can no longer sit on the fence or just stand by and Colin Kaepernick was in trouble. How many of us turned off the TV? How many of us hung up our jerseys? We left the situation in our hearts and didn't think nothing about it. So going forward, even when it comes to Kyrie Irving, Kanye West, or any person that gets canceled for just basically protecting themselves. We got the 1, change it with our hands, seeing injustice, change it with our hands. 2, we could use our speech. And 3, if you leave it in your heart, that's the weakest of faith. So just by saying that, you know, there's a lot we can do, and it starts in the home. Because I think Sister Make It Happen, she mentioned that the hate that we perpetuate among ourselves, these are our little sisters and brothers, our cousins and nephews that's doing this hate among one another. They leave out our front door and we like, what time you gonna be back? Or what did you do tonight? They be like, nothing, be back soon. So we have to take responsibility of our own. We have teachers in our midst. You see them sitting in your rows. Have that empathetic mind to understand them, connect with them. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely have to be our own advocate. There's no more Stockholm syndrome on this block. We have to be our own advocate. Go ahead, sir.
Martin Luther King said the best
Yes,
thing to do when you look down on somebody is to pick them up. He said that love will always overpower hate. He got assassinated. Most black, even this minister that you talked about, the priest that just got murdered. Everyone in the interview talked about how he talked about peace and love. But he was murdered in his house. Here's a country that tells you that they want to stop violence, but they sell guns, won't pass legislation to stop AR-15s. And in certain states, they say everybody can carry a gun. You don't even need a background check. So you can carry out.
That's Alabama.
Well, it's Texas too, and it's Arizona. open carry, Arizona, Washington, D.C., Texas. Yeah, they all open carry. Even Florida is being acted that way.
Yeah, but I just want to highlight on the point that you said that you don't need a background check. That recently happened this year in Alabama.
Yeah,
That you no longer need a background check
you don't
to have a concealed weapon.
with gun shows. The gun shows they don't do background checks. They already
No.
got no background check. They
No.
just that's a. I mean, the George Floyd policing bill to stop police abuse and to reform police that wait, they got qualified immunity. You're saying hold people accountable, but qualified immunity means you can sue the police individually, and those that get fired for abuse, you can get access to their records, and that they can be held accountable. They can't go get a job from another state. What I'm trying to say is that it's very difficult when you see the contradiction. Here's a country that elect racists, from Jesse Helms all the way up to Trump. Look at what just happened in Congress. The people that tried to overthrow the election they talk of 200 of them that got elected were election deniers. My point is that, yeah, individually, we need to educate our children. Right now, they got their answer to children violence and shooting in schools is teach the kids shooting drill. You know, shooting drill. You know, you go out to Laguna and you look at their high school, there's no prison gates all around them. It's an open campus. White people can leave, come back. But when you come to our school, they look like Lompoc Federal Pen. You understand? Only thing I'm trying to say is that, man, it is a deep thing. You know, we need brothers like you to work hard and to advise organizations on what to do. But at the same time, they have to come to grips that it's not about stopping hate crimes. It's not about stopping violence. It's about two things: not being a victim of it and learning how to protect yourself from it. If it is that deep, this country, I mean, you grew up about cats. We used to go in the park. I was telling Rashiki because when we was coming up, we'd just go in school and just fire on somebody. Because there were girls around, people around. Watch me knock this fool out. You understand? I mean, wouldn't just out of watching TV. Look at all the violence on TV. Look at all the guns, kids, and Nintendos and all them electronic games. You know, all number war games, violence. And here, good hardworking people like us trying to educate our children. You know, my parents, when we was coming up, if somebody messed with you, hit them in the head and run home. Pick up a stick, and if your brothers and sisters there, they better jump in and help. You understand? There wasn't no, hey, don't fight. You understand? You know, there wasn't no Martin Luther King nonviolence. It was like, hey, you better help your brothers and sisters. You better stand up for yourself. You understand? And it's a different game, but none of my kids had a fight in school. You know, none of them ever got in any trouble with violence in school. I had 6 children. Because I trained them that if there's any issue, you come to me. You understand? And I'll fight for you. You understand? But run away from it. Don't go and worship violence on the campus by going to see the fight and watching and say, oh, that was a good fight. Oh, look at her. She tore her clothes off and all that. You don't want to see that. But at the same time, when I came out of junior high, I'm retiring from gang violence out of junior high. You understand? I said, well, I'm just going to concentrate on basketball. But before that, it was on and popping. You understand? Of jacking young kids, at taking their little money. You got a quarter? Give me that quarter. You understand? I mean, because that was the mentality when we was coming up in Real Rogers Park at the swimming pool or at the theater. You understand? And then people took our money. You understand? The older cats took ours. So I'm trying to say that we learned this. We are all products of America.
Mm-hmm.
We are all products of America. Kids steal because this country stole this country. You know, I mean, they didn't pay the Native American. You understand? And then guess what? They act like they never stole it. They said God told them to do it. You know? Using God as a real estate agent. So we have to teach them the truth. But now they're trying to pass a law saying you can't teach Black history, Native American history, Latino history by if it's criticizing white folks for what they did to them. And now you want to teach the truth and tell the kids, the reality. And now they're telling all books in Florida. The government can tell you what to read and what the teacher can teach. And that's rough, ain't it?
Hey,
Very rough.
Don't that sort of sound like when we was in servitude? Like, okay, you can't read no books. Oh man.
Good point.
Reminds me of oppressive George. I'm not George, Germany.
You don't have to go to Germany. You need to go to America. America worse than Germany. They wiped out more Indians than the Germans wiped out Jews. You can ask a person, how many Jews got killed? 6 million. But you ask them, how many Africans got killed in the Middle Passage? I don't know.
King Leopold
Yeah,
was killed like what genocide like 15 million Africans.
and that's Cecil Rhodes, the Rhodes Scholar, Rhodesia, was named after Cecil Rhodes. It wiped out millions of Africans and still doing it.
Yeah.
You understand? So my point is that the reality you're teaching needs to be taught. Education can draw out the best of people.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And that's the tool and the only weapon that we really got, because we sure can't arrest all these white folks. Even though they're a minority on the planet, they have all the bombs and jets and alliances with other white countries to protect them ruling the planet.
Mm-hmm. So basically, I want to recap what we talked about earlier, that African Americans are only 9% of Los Angeles County's population, but we are 46% of all targeted hate crimes here in Los Angeles County. We discussed we need to have our own definition of hate crimes. We need to have our own definitions because what it seems like their definition is kind of biased. They don't include themselves in these definitions or whoever the true perpetuators of hate. We also talked about policy and how we could start organizing and become aligned with the community organizers that stand up for our rights. We could join that. We also talked about getting prepared for the 2024 presidential elections and how we need to identify who, if we are voters, who needs to align with our agenda. You know what I'm saying? Our values. But at the end of the day, as Amon said, we have to educate one another. The more we know, the more power we can have. When I define power as the ability to act or respond. How will you use your will and ability to protect yourself?
That's awesome, brother. That is awesome. And here's a challenge for us.
Mm-hmm.
The next time you come on, we could have some of those things, clarified. We could come up. Matter of fact, we'll talk offline and we'll come up with next time we come back, we have some more concrete things to say about it.
Okay.
That we can actually apply. So that would be a challenge for us as a group.
Yes, sir.
And one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Most people that are purveyors of hate, the first thing they do is to teach the victim to hate themselves. You understand? Hate yourself. You understand? I mean, hate the way you look. Hate the way you talk. Hate your own people. I mean, can you imagine that? As Malcolm said, who taught you to hate your nose? Hate yourself from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. We got sisters running around with yellow hair. We got men with pigtails. Well, yeah, that's what they wearing on the basketball court, pigtails. We just call them pigtails. Braids. Anthony Davis was sitting up there not with one earring, two big giant earrings. The defeminization, not manhood, a protector and a provider of a family, but just someone that want to be known for at 7 foot like he's normal. You understand, man? You draw enough attention at 7 feet. You don't need no. When you're in the Army, do you have to wear diamonds in your? The Army don't allow you to wear no diamonds. A sniper will blow your head off. First of all, you got to let the people know you at war. You may not be in it, but you definitely at war. You understand? You ran off the statistics. Those were just statistics based upon people not liking you. That's
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. And those are just the statistics that were reported. There's a whole slew of statistics that have incidents that haven't been reported. So that's just a small, what they call that, synopsis or a small portion of what's been of what's really going on. But I agree with everything that's going on here. I'm grateful that we have this platform with such scholars as yourselves, and I'm thankful that you've allowed me to come on and share a little bit of my insight, the world that I deal with out here every day. I want the people to walk away, whoever watched this, to know that we have to protect ourselves and our families the best way we can. I'm not saying go out there and pick up this, that, and the other. Educate yourselves. The more that we know, the better we can protect ourselves.
Yes, sir. Excellent. Now, okay, Sister Linda left, so I was going to ask her, but she left. So yes, brother.
I'm here, and this is exciting, and I'm just saying, do we know any black shooting ranges? I mean, we need to be practicing and taking care of ourselves and know how to defend ourselves. We know any
they got black guns club.
More than we trained up.
There's a good dealer in Burbank called I think it's called Redstones.
Yeah. Okay.
Redstones, you could Google it. And across from there's a shooting range. We could also pick up martial arts. How to one-to-one combat. We could also, if you learn to do yoga, you could transfer some of the yoga moves into into self-defense. So picking up a pistol is not the first thing, but learning martial arts, and then the most important thing that we could equip to protect ourselves is our heart and mind. It's a heart and mind, because that helps guards our souls. You know what I'm saying? But
That's right. That's right.
Excellent, excellent, man. Glad you came on, Brother Umar.
thank you for
Yes,
allowing
sir.
me here. I'm grateful.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
we're gonna go ahead and take a pause,
Okay.
and we're gonna come back. And Brother Umar, you and I have to hook up and talk about some things. So yeah, this is excellent, man. I'm proud of you, brother, and the things that you do. Keep up the great work. So we're
Without
gonna take
exception.
this pause, and then I'm gonna tell us who's gonna be on next Wednesday. We got Brother Kevin G coming back. Kevin G. And the topic is the importance of health and wellness in the African American community. So that's going to contribute to being able to protect yourself, being a very healthy and a well person. So I'm looking forward to that. And we're going to come back and do it again. Professor Ra, anybody lined up for Monday?
Yeah, we're going to discuss Black women history.
Okay.
We have two histories. We have what they call African American History Month. Then we have part two history, the Black Woman History Month, and that's March. And we're going to be discussing their contributions to our movement, dealing with the demonization of the woman and the sexualization of the woman, and all those women that have contributed to our upliftment and struggle. You know, the Harriet Tubmans, the Barbara Jordans, you know, all the great things that women have done toward our movement, toward liberation. And so, because right now, you know, many Black men don't know the value of women and their contribution to our struggle, our liberation. But not only that, their scientific, innovative activities, all of those things. So we're going to look at Women Focus this Tuesday. I mean, this Monday.
Yes, that's wonderful.
That is a practice, you know, because that's the international month for women. But we concentrate on Black women. Black women, you know, teaching us about that history. Yeah.
Brother Umar, stay on for a minute. So
Yes,
each
sir.
one teach one in Conscious Corner.
I'll give you a call tomorrow, Rashaki. And brother, keep up the good work. You got a lot to do. There's big money in hate. They make big money in hate.
It is.
You know,
It is.
they used to pay H-Rap to go to white cities to talk so that white folks would go join white groups and pay money. And man, when Marcus Garvey tried to raise money to go back to Africa, he raised $11 million for white folks. I'm trying to tell you something. It's big money. Big money in hate. All right. I'll get back to y'all.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum.